Jonathan, my
Hey
man,
David, how you doing?
how we doing?
Doing all right.
Ignoring the game, how's life?
Chaotic.
I can imagine. What's
How about yourself? How goes the TikTok grind?
uh TikTok's weirdly been stalling. Uh Growth has been kind of stable. Things are very up and down right now, but YouTube and other platforms have actually been doing incredibly well, which is kind
Yeah,
of
I've noticed everyone like TikTokifying their apps in some ways. Like YouTube Shorts started it, and then like Instagram's got Reels. Everyone's kind of copying it, but on a better, bigger platform that's more robust.
yeah. And YouTube Shorts I truly do believe is like gonna be the way forward because the biggest thing holding them back for a while was like you could only play music up to 15 seconds, and now they finally extended it out to a minute, and their music selection of songs is much better. It's just gonna take time for like culturally it to get
Be
all
like the
the
place to go.
yeah, that'll take probably like another year and a half, I'd imagine. But enough about TikTok. Unfortunately, we do have to talk about the game a little bit.
Definitely.
Uh, Walk me through. How's everybody feeling after what most probably thought was going to be an easy win after contracts got online?
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the game at least, I think for a lot of the players, we were very clear of like, this isn't like it on the standings. It looks like a free win, right? But realistically, like we know the players on that team. We've scrimmed against them before. We know they're no slouches. So like every match needs to be taken seriously. So for us, that was that was the approach going in. Obviously, we kind of knew we'd fall behind a little bit. That's kind of just Aurelian soul. It's the nature of the beast. You're going to kind of fall behind a little bit. You're not going to have as many tools in the toolkit at the beginning of the game. But later on, you get a lot of extra tools with a lot of power to them. So once we started to get to that turning point, I think everyone started to feel pretty good. Obviously, they had stacked quite a bunch of dragons. So every Drake fight is like must win, must win, must win, no mistakes kind of thing at a certain point. So that definitely kept the pressure pretty high. But I think obviously we didn't stick the landing at the end. We had a couple missteps here and there, but I think generally the team was feeling pretty good. Obviously, after a game like that, in the immediate moments after, there's a lot of emotions. You kind of resolve the tension of like a 40+ minute game. So, it all comes rushing through, but I think the players are dealing with it as kind of most would expect, and, just being as constructive as they can going through and figuring out like what went wrong, what can we fix next time, kind of the iterative process that we always try and do win or lose.
You guys got one hell of a schedule now closing. Things have kind of tightened up a little bit with 100 Thieves and Team Liquid getting wins, you guys and Golden Guardians dropping games. Do you get the sense that any of the players are feeling pressure at all? Or is it, at least for now, still smooth sailing as it was?
Yeah, I mean, I think for especially this time of year, I think it's pretty natural to feel pressure. Like, I don't think it's abnormal for anyone on any of the teams in the playoff race to be in that kind of that sense of pressure where every game could matter, and there could be, some element of the Foldy sheet that comes forward in a week or so that, oh dang, that one game we lost last week was the one that really flipped this script for us. But I think the way that we deal with it is the important part, and I think so far the players have been dealing really well with it. It's just a matter of continuing to make sure that everyone's taking it one game at a time. You're not eating, you're not focusing too much on, one game that went wrong or a certain thing in a game that you could have done better or that someone else could have done better. That it really just comes down to like taking every opponent as they come. And I think with the results today, you can see obviously, the teams that are at the top right now are just as fallible as the teams at the bottom, and the teams that are kind of in that middle pack are all kind of scrapping amongst themselves. So realistically, anyone can win on any given day, and it's just a matter of making sure you take your prep and come in ready to play on that day against whatever opponent you happen to be against.
Is part of that prep then making sure to think hard has laxatives in his food tomorrow to make sure that the shit is longer to hit that threshold of a guaranteed win?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like min-maxing the flow chart, like that's definitely a component you got to take into account. Make sure he's like timing his meals effectively. Like it all, all of that goes into the big calculus of how we win our games. So I think, that's just one of the many elements we got to be keeping in mind.
It's truly counter logic at sometimes, I swear to God.
You got to stay on brand.
Oh, Jesus. I know you're on Twitter a good bit. Did you happen to see the Portillo tweet earlier?
Was it the one about kind of player branding and marketing and stuff?
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts. I've asked some of the players today about it just to kind of see, where do they land on it, because we didn't see many players actually speak out on it from the league scene. You saw some CS pros, some Valorant pros say stuff on it, but from the org side, since you're on more the management side, what?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what's your expectations of players and what do you want to see them do more of?
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as expectations for me, like I just want to see a concerted effort to just do more than the average person. Obviously, I can't expect anyone to be like, streaming 40 plus hours a week or anything crazy, right? Like we have a really rigid schedule, so the time for streaming is pretty limited. So whatever social engagement we can get is something that is, seen as like a nice cherry on top and something that is very additive to the player value that we're getting. What's funny is we were actually in our green room, like the backstage rooms, basically waiting because the day ran so long because of all the technical issues that they were going through, that we started just like making kind of just goofy TikToks and stuff like that, trying to like make skits and stuff like that. Like the guys were having a lot of fun with it. So I think for us, like doing more of that is always valuable. I think a lot of our players and a lot of our kind of like banter back and forth are a lot of fun to watch. So I think the fans would really love to see it. So getting more of that out via like the personal Twitters. I know we've also had times where like, the social media team makes a meme that's maybe a little too spicy for the main feed. And so we have a good relationship between the players and the social media team to like hand those off to the players to be like, hey, it's a little spicy for main, but like this might be great for your personal Twitter. Like, is this something you want to post? And they're like, oh, hell yeah, this is awesome. So like for me, I think a lot of that is super valuable. I think our players have really started to kind of like buy into the idea that this is something that matters and is important. So some of them are a little more social media oriented than others, so they kind of lean more into it. And I think it is like a good thing for the league, right? Especially in the LCS, like we're all in the same place. We can all kind of like cross-pollinate our content with each other. Like players hang out with each other all the time. They're friends with players on other teams. So like I think there's a lot of opportunity that's kind of just left on the cutting room floor as far as like stuff that we could do more of and do better. I think a lot of the LCS content we've seen so far this year, just on the LCS broadcast front, has really shown that there's like a lot of fun stuff going on behind the scenes, a lot of cool characters that we're not seeing as much. So I'm glad the LCS has been really helping out with that. And I think it's something that everyone can just do better. Even in games where there is that high visibility, there's always more that can be done,
Yeah. The one thing that I've honestly enjoyed over the last like 2 years from the Call of Duty scene, I'm not sure how tuned in you are to the CDL, because I know you guys don't have a team in it.
I'm not the most tuned in, but I follow a little bit.
Okay. One of the things that they have going there is like a lot of the pro players that retired do stream and do like the watch parties in the same way that like Meteos and some of the other LCS pros do. But what you'll also see after game days a lot is you'll just see a bunch of people hop on a stream, whether that's with one of the co-streamers or something else, and you'll just have a bunch of people join a Discord and start shooting shit. Whether it's about League of Legends, whether it's about anything else, but it's just like you see the pros from the different teams like interacting in a very low stress environment, just chilling, talking on stream. I've been pitching that to everybody. Like somebody just has to throw up a stream, and it will become a very consistent thing once you do it. And it's just a nice stress reliever that I don't know if you guys can push that on your side, but shit, that's easy content that they can milk.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing too is when, Champions Queue first came out, we kind of saw that. Obviously, everyone kind of took that as like, this is like competitive, this is very serious, but like in the comms, it was, everyone's having fun, they're having a good time, everyone's kind of shooting their shit. And because a lot of it is streamed, everyone knows the camera's on. So, they're hamming it up with each other, they're ribbing each other, getting into all sorts of, banter back and forth. So I think like CQ showed that there is that ability for us to do it. I think the big thing is just finding an outlet where like everyone can do it, and we actually have the free time to do it, and it's something that can be done in good fun to where like everyone's bought in and no one's, there's no hurt feelings, there's no like unfair beef or anything going on. So I think like, at least from my perspective, something I'd love to see. Obviously, logistically getting something like that together is always a bit of an uphill battle.
Shit, all you gotta do is have Meteos just say, hey, after game day from like 12 to 1, or well, 12 to 1 our time for you guys, whatever, or 9 p.m. to 10. Just throw on a stream, open up a call, whoever wants to join joins, and just doesn't have to be video, just voice, just chill. Feel like that, like there's gotta be something easy that can be done there. But I don't want to talk your ear off about content. I know you got a bunch of our shit to get to, so don't let me take up any more of your time. Final thing.
Good, appreciate it.
When you gonna be back in New York?
Honestly, I wish I knew. It kind of just is one of those things where like if there's a thing to do and the times line up and like the stars align and all that stuff happens, then cool, I get to go to New York, and I kind of know when they tell me, basically. So for me, it's like very opportunistic.
Well, try and find a way to get out here before summer finals in Jersey. We need to grab a drink sometime.
Definitely.
All right. I'll let you get to it. Get back to the team. Good luck tomorrow. Have a go, man.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
All right, peace out.